Anime Declassified is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Hey guys, Joshua Seth here, voice of Tai on Digimon, and you're listening to Anime Declassified.
And welcome back to another episode of Anime Declassified, hosted by animesecrets.org. I am your host, Rizwan Merchant, and I am joined today by quite possibly the world's biggest Dragon Ball fan of all time, Frankie Hallsworth.
Hi!
Okay. So, Frankie, we have wrapped up our review series on Dragon Ball Daima, and throughout the last couple of episodes of Daima, you and I have been kind of wondering how continuity would kind of stake up and what would end up happening, because as we all knew entering Dragon Ball Daima, this was officially stated to be in canon with Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super.
Now,
However,
definitely. Go ahead, you first.
No, go ahead.
It is definitely in continuity with Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, there's no
ifs,
disputing
ands,
that.
or buts about that.
Yeah. No, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are never in ever any kind of trouble for like continuity. The continuity issue comes in with we have Dragon Ball Daima, Dragon Ball Super, and Dragon Ball GT. Now,
GT is just completely out of the equation. There ain't
Right.
no way.
Akira Toriyama has outright said GT is not canon, and he wanted Super to be canon. End of story. Now, Daima is Toriyama's last work. And from what we understand from all the interviews, Daima is meant to be the bridge between Z and Super in that 3-year gap where we don't really know what's going on. However, as you guys heard in our last podcast, there are some things that just don't really add up when it comes to Dragon Ball continuity as a whole, which again is not very surprising because Dragon Ball as a franchise is riddled in continuity. However, in my personal opinion, and Frankie, you can feel free to tell me I'm wrong because we all know you know way more about this than I do. But the other small continuity things that we've had in Dragon Ball Z and Super are things that we can mainly live with because they're not like earth-shattering big continuity things that are just like leaving us with a wait, what?
Not like this.
Right. And so I have a hard time trying to figure out how do you make sense of what we just saw in Daima. And okay, let's kind of go through the 3 big things to me that break Dragon Ball continuity here.
And I think I agree with you. And the first one I want to talk about is in Battle of Gods, Kibito and Shin are fused at the beginning of Battle of Gods as Kibito Shin.
Yeah.
They separated at the beginning of Daima, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they're supposed to be fused in Battle of Gods.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because again, like I've mentioned in a previous podcast, my memory for the Majin Buu saga is a little bit lacking. But I believe they were defused by Majin Buu.
They never defused in the Buu saga.
They didn't. Okay, so when did the defusion happen?
In Dragon Ball Super, they made a wish on the dragon to separate. My guess is that was a throwaway line because the animators forgot they were fused, so they had to come up with something. Okay, fine. And this, they say they let Buu swallow them and separate them.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that was probably a throwaway line because Akira Toriyama forgot they were fused.
What's not a big deal. I mean, that's not a huge problem. And if this is the extent of continuity problems, I would say screw it. We wouldn't even be here making this video.
Well, because at that point you could say, okay, they refused in between, not the end of the world, right?
Right. It's just something happened. They went on an adventure and they did something. Not a big deal.
Now, the second one, because I don't want to spend too much time on the Supreme Kai one, because at the end of the day, that one's barely.
It's very benign.
Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta.
Ultra Vegeta 1.
Shut up! It's not Ultra Vegeta 1! Oh my god!
It's Ultra Vegeta 1, dang it. He said it
It's not
himself.
Ultra Vegeta 1! It's Super Saiyan 3!
Anyway, Frankie, continue, please.
So, as we all know, Vegeta used Super Saiyan 3 in Dragon Ball Daima, but he never uses it in Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
Now, if this was the biggest continuity problem, I would have a simple explanation for why he didn't use it. In Battle of Gods, Goku fights Beerus at Super Saiyan 3. He gets his butt whooped. And when Vegeta found that out, he's like, okay, well, I need to try something else. That's where my brain would go.
And I mean, it makes sense if you think about the constraints of Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 3 expends a lot of energy, it doesn't hold for very long, and it's a bit slower in terms of power, right? Like, it's the equivalence of having this hulking body but no control over it, basically.
And if it didn't work for Goku against Beerus, why would it work for Vegeta?
Oh, well, Vegeta's the ultra power of everything, so clearly he could do some stuff that Kakarot cannot, but we all know that's not true. This is his ego talking.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But if that was the biggest problem, okay, he didn't use it because he knew it wouldn't work against Beerus. And then he got Super Saiyan God and Blue later, so whatever.
Yeah.
The one I can't BS my way out of.
Well, okay, so before you get to that, another point about the Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 thing for why we never see it along the way to other things can also be explained by Goku and Vegeta have time and time again bypassed the middle forms to go from Saiyan to Super Saiyan God Blue more than once. Like, they don't have to go from Super Saiyan 1 to 2 to 3 to red to blue. They can jump from normal to blue.
And on top of that, let's be honest here. Goku doesn't use Super Saiyan 3 all that much either.
I mean, okay, I think we can count on one hand how many times Goku has used Super Saiyan 3 across all 4 seasons.
Yeah, he used it against Majin Buu. The biggest one was against Kid Buu.
Yeah.
He used it against Beerus. And he used it against Future
Goma.
He used it against Goma. And then Future Trunks in Super.
Oh, Frankie, that line, it cracks me up. Oh, Dad, you can definitely do that too, right?
LOL, Super Saiyan Blue.
Yeah.
And then he used it for a split second in Tournament of Power.
Yeah.
So he doesn't use it a whole lot.
Because he knows it's not a good form.
Exactly, and Goku will use Super Saiyan 1 over 3 every time.
And see, this is still in canon with Daima in that the rules of Super Saiyan 3 are intact. Vegeta couldn't maintain the power in that form in the final Goma battle.
Exactly.
And Goku couldn't stay in that form either for too long and maintain power either. Like, he got beat down, and that's when Neva had to go help him.
Yeah, exactly. That's why in Super, he uses Super Saiyan Blue more, because that's way better energy control.
Yeah. So, this all makes sense. However, we gotta get to the elephant in the room again. Super Saiyan 4.
Saiyan 4. Okay. There would have been a way to explain this away. And they didn't go that route. Which is, he got this form and it's exclusive to the Demon Realm. And I guess not.
Well, okay, so let's talk that out a little bit here. So, if you recall, the main difference in the GT variant and this variant is Goku's hair color, right?
It's red.
Yeah, Goku's hair in Daima is red, and GT is black with the red fur on his body. Now, I was trying to make the argument before we got to the finale that Super Saiyan 4 would be the Demon Realm equivalent of Super Saiyan God Red. And that Goku can only tap into this form in the demon realm, and he can only tap into God mode in the outer world realm. And the two can never cross the bounds. Like, let's say they had a Daima sequel back in Demon World. Goku couldn't go God mode there. He'd have to go back to Super Saiyan 4 mode because of the, energy in the universe or whatever you want to call it. Whatever, that's fine. So, Super Saiyan 4 to me, Frankie, makes me think this is not canon at all.
I'll get to that in a second. And I
Okay.
would have bought your explanation until the finale where Goku straight up tells Vegeta he had this in his back pocket the whole time.
Yeah, and that right there is the thing I cannot forgive. Because what was the point then?
Like, so you've had this on reserve. You've had Super Saiyan 4 on your back burner. So why did Neva need to unlock it anyway?
No. Okay, so that part I understood. So Goku said in the final throwaway line when he's talking to Vegeta, he'd been training up to get Super Saiyan 4. But Neva had to help him with that last little push to get it, I think.
I don't know if that's the case. I really don't. I
It's
took it
it's
as
how I interpreted it, but it's one way to look at it.
I took it as his kid body couldn't handle it on his own. Maybe.
I mean, okay, see, that also makes sense because if you think back to continuity of Daima, when they're kids, they're not as powerful. Because if you look at Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 as a kid versus when he's an adult, it's a world of difference against Goma.
Yeah, same thing. Because Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta was doing better against Goma than Super Saiyan 4 Kid Goku was.
Right. So it stands to reason that that's the explanation for it.
But if Goku can now just do this at will, which he showed us he can,
Yeah.
why didn't he use it against Beerus? He probably
And
would have still lost, but
well,
by probably,
okay.
no, he definitely would have still lost.
Well,
But
he would have lost, but it would not have been as far apart, I think. Because if you think about it, my man literally Kamehameha'd his way through punching a hole in the literal demon world.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but him and Beerus punching each other shake the entire fabric of the universe.
Yeah.
So is 4 stronger than God? Or is 4 weaker than God? I don't know.
We can't know the answer to that until we see Beerus.
I'm
That's
going
the
to safely assume Super Saiyan Blue is stronger than Super Saiyan 4.
I actually would argue, okay, so I would argue Super Saiyan God Red and Super Saiyan 4 are equivalent, but
And then
Blue is
Blue's
probably the upgrade. And
yeah.
Ultra Instinct is Ultra Instinct.
Ultra Instinct's a whole other level.
Yeah.
But regardless, Super Saiyan 4 is really what makes this hard to fit in the canon because
Yeah.
him using Super Saiyan Blue over 4, yeah, I could buy that. The main thing is why didn't he use 4 against Beerus if he had it in his back pocket?
And that's the part I'm not understanding is what were they thinking? Because okay, so you could have gone a different way with Daima altogether, and I'd have been happy with if they had done this. If they had just said, "Hey, here's an alternate what if world where this happened instead of Super,"
You know
then
how I could have bought Super Saiyan 4? Those fusion bug things.
Elaborate.
If Goku and Vegeta had fused with those fusion bugs, and then that fusion form had Super Saiyan 4. But because they could only use that form with the fusion bug, is why I never tapped into it again.
You know what I would also have bought, honestly? You know those little revive bugs?
Yeah.
What if those revive bugs unlocked Super Saiyan 4 temporarily for a couple of weeks? And then when they stopped eating them every couple of days, the power diminished.
I mean, maybe.
Like
But
the form
again,
goes
Goku
away.
straight up said after Boo, he was really strong, so I kept training, and I had this ready, but I didn't know if it would work. So you knew you had another transformation in your body,
Yeah.
and you straight called it Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah.
So you knew, dude.
And that's the problem, is that one line messed up everything.
Like,
Because see,
we were theorizing. Okay, so we can only use this form in the demon realm. That's why it's never in Super.
yeah.
Cool. Nope.
Well, it's that, or there is some property of the revive bug.
But no, he had this the whole time.
Yeah.
Unless Super Saiyan God just replaced it in his body. Which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense either, even though they're the same color.
I think it could make sense. I would still buy that, because I would say, okay, Goku doesn't understand how the powers work, and he probably was getting close to Super Saiyan God mode prior to Super, but when he's in Demon World, the Ozaru effects are much stronger on him, so he looked more Ozaru-like than he does in the normal world. That's still possible.
But we need an official statement explaining this.
And see, here's the thing. For me to have a statement I would accept, it can only take one of two forms. Has to be a movie, or has to be a sequel, TV show. Cannot be manga.
Yeah. I would take someone asking the creators and just having them explain it.
No, I wouldn't. It has to be in the anime somehow. Because if you think about it, they do have this like Dragon Ball 10-year plan or something.
See, I've heard nothing about that, but I could just be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's just a really weird continuity glitch that we can't forgive. We can't just say, verily, yes, this is fine. Let's move on. Because this doesn't make sense for Super, and we love Super.
I mean, I want it to make sense. I really do. But as of this moment, I cannot make it make sense.
No, cannot.
And maybe you guys are smarter than us, and you can tell us in the comments what you think. But I can't figure this out.
No, I cannot either. So, with that said, if you guys have thoughts on how we can accept Dragon Ball Daima being in continuity with Super, let us know. Put a comment down below in the YouTube channel, or send us a review on Spotify, or hey, come join the Discord and let's talk about Dragon Ball Z in our Discord server. That'd be great.
Support our
We'd love
Patreon.
that. We don't have Patreon.
We should.
Stay tuned for a Patreon coming soon to a Patreon near you.
That's right.
But until then, thanks for listening to this podcast. We really appreciate you guys supporting us. Catch us on Anime Declassified for more of our anime content as it comes out. But until next time, I'm Rizwan. That's Frankie. We're Anime Declassified, hosted by animesecrets.org. And we bid you a very fond farewell until next time.